Well, let's find out what Evan Lucas from IG in Melbourne thinks we'll see at the Open today. Evan, good morning to you. Thanks for your time, as always. Yeah, what's your opening call for the ASX 200?
Yeah, we're probably going to point up around about 12 points. That should take us to 52, 74, 75, even as much as 77. I think it's probably going to be a bit of a recovery in the banks. We have seen them under a lot of pressure over the last couple of days. The Westpac result yesterday, why it was a solid result, did see it being sold off quite hard, and there may be just a bit of a pick-up as people move into that dividend that it's going to give away in around about 10 days' time. So that's where I see the market moving and where you're going to see probably the support. Today's always obviously going to be about the macro data and particularly the trade balance and the RBA, and that's really going to drive our market. Japan is shut today. They're observing another public holiday. It is Children's Day over there, so it will be all about the Australian data today.
So for the RBA, obviously the statement key, no change expected from your point of view. Well, what do you think we'll hear from the board, given we've got the statement of monetary policy out later in the week?
Yeah, and I'm one of those 87% that believes that basically we're going to get no change. Again, listening to what the board is saying, they're very, very blunt in this at the moment, that rates are going to remain very steady for a considerable period of time, and they believe inflation is going to hold between that 2 and 3% band that they have for the next 2 years or thereabouts. So I think it's the outlook guidance. I think it's certainly going to be the statement that not only drives today, but towards the back end of the week. And that's where we're really looking. And there are so many variables that come into that now that really do see that inflation sort of play as the real sort of gauge of where the market currently is sort of doing a bit of a battle. And the bulls and the bears on those economist sides are making very good cases for either or. So if you do have a look at that inflation, we have started to see it tick up. We may or may not have got a bit of a rogue inflation data at the last one where it did drop away, a lot more than what the market was expecting. But there are certainly, green shoots there. The East Coast recovery is certainly happening. We're seeing consumer sentiment improving. There is, a sign that maybe we're seeing spending also on the upside, and that is certainly inflation positive. The other side of the equation is what's going to happen next Tuesday. This idea that we may get a levy, a tax, whatever you want to call it, coming out of the budget. That in itself could almost be a rate hike, considering it will put a lid on that spending side. So the inflation is one area to watch out of that statement today. The other one is obviously what happens with the trade balance and also what's happening with China. Trade balance is supposed to come in at $1.2 billion expansion, and that is being driven by exports, particularly from the mining side. If you look at the Port Hedland numbers, they've been really, really strong consistently now for around about 4 or 5 months, and that will probably see that number being reached. The issue will be the nominal side, and I think that's where you've got to look at as well. It's where the RBA will be watching the nominal numbers that come out of the trade balance. Are we actually getting the return for the amount of production and shipping exports that we've currently got? Considering the average price is dropping away, that may be the negative there, and again another reason why that whole debate around the outlook of where inflation, where rates are going may be quite indifferent, because we are starting to see a slowdown in that real driven export part of the economy.
Evan, as always, thanks for that. We'll chat to you through the session.
Thanks, Bridie.
Evan Lucas there from IG.